This week on TechRap, we share our thoughts on Apple's new iPhones. And it was touted as the best smartphone from a local manufacturer. Find out if the Starmobile Knight lives up to the hype. Hi, I'm Michael Josh, and this is TechRap, your weekly source for tech news, gadget reviews, app recommendations, and social media tips. All eyes are on Apple this week as, surprise, surprise, the company from Cupertino unveils not one, but two new iPhones. The rumors prove to be true as Apple takes the wraps off the iPhone 5S and the 5C. Everything you need to know is already published on Rappler.com. We'll publish the links below. So here at TechRap, allow me to give you my take. Number one, despite what some pundits are saying, I love the colors on the iPhone 5C, and I'm sure everyday consumers will too. Although it must be said that it reminds me of Nokia's line of polycarbonate Lumia devices that are also available in a range of colors. Number two, while some say Apple loses some prestige by coming up with budget devices, Apple has done this before. Remember, it had a cheap version of the iMac called the eMac that later became the Mac Mini. It also once had a budget MacBook, a cheaper version of its top-of-the-line laptop, the MacBook Pro. In the second quarter of 2013 financial earnings report, we found out that Apple was making a profit on the sale of the 2-year-old iPhone 4 in markets like India. So a cheaper iPhone makes sense and will keep Apple in the smartphone race that is currently being dominated by Android. The iPhone 5C is basically a plastic, slightly improved version of the iPhone 5. So it's not really a low-end phone in terms of specs, and when it comes to the Philippine market, it's sometime in November or December, it should start at around 25,000 pesos contract-free. Not bad for an iPhone. Number three, Apple's high-end iPhone, the iPhone 5S, isn't revolutionary, but instead of adding tons of new features that are nice to have but you'll never really use, it focuses on two important features that users will benefit from. First, a better camera. Apple says the size of an image sensor is more important than megapixel count. Funny because HTC said that a year ago and called it ultra pixels. Still, we're happy to see better low-light performance on the new 5S. The other key improvement of the 5S is in terms of security, but the built-in fingerprint scanner unlock mechanism isn't new. We saw a similar functionality on the Motorola Atrix all the way back in 2011. That said, we see lots of practical application here, and hey, we're all for a more secure phone. Samsung is taking a similar route, but in the software front with its Knox app. Speaking of Samsung, wouldn't it be interesting next year when Samsung updates its flagship smartphone? It would be Apple iPhone 5S versus Samsung Galaxy S5. Coincidence? With the addition of a third color, gold, Apple is calling the 5S the gold standard of smartphones. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. Are these real innovations or is Apple playing catch-up? I'll let you be the judge. Tweet your reactions using the hashtag TechRap. Moving on to other news, while PlayStation fans wait for the release of the PlayStation 4, Sony announces two new gadgets for gamers, a slimmer version of the Vita and the PlayStation Vita TV. Tech blog Engadget reports the new PlayStation Vita is 20% slimmer and 15% lighter than its predecessor. It's only 15 millimeters in thickness and tips the scale at 219 grams. The new Vita comes with improved battery life, allowing for up to 6 hours of uninterrupted play. The new Vita will be released in Japan on October 10 for 18,980 yen, or approximately $190 US. It will come in pink, black, blue, gray, lime green, and yellow. Sony also announces a mini console, the Vita TV. The Verge reports this console, smaller than a PlayStation controller, connects to TVs and allows users to play Vita, PSP, and PlayStation 1 games with a DualShock 3 controller. Cool. The mini console can also double as an extender of PlayStation 4 games, allowing them to be played on a second TV if the main screen is occupied. For now, the Vita TV will be released only in Japan. It supports Japan-specific video services such as Hulu, Nico Nico, Duga, and Tsutaya TV, as well as a collection of applications. The Vita TV will be available in Japan on November 14 for 9,480 yen, or about $95. It's also available bundled with a DualShock 3 controller and an 8GB memory card for 14,280 yen, or around $143. Instagram is growing. In a blog post, the photo and short video sharing app says it has grown to a user base of 150 million. Instagram says over 50 million users joined within the last 6 months, 60% of which comes from outside the US. In a related report, the Wall Street Journal says Instagram is considering some form of monetization within the next year. The report says the app is not actually generating any revenue for its owner, Facebook. Google Plus is stepping up its game in the realm of images as the desktop version of Google's social networking site adds photo editing. Photo editing capabilities come to Google Plus users who use the desktop version of Chrome. The feature, previously available only on Android and iOS apps of Google, is based on Nick Software's Snapseed. Google acquired Snapseed in 2012. To access the editing function, just go to the photo section on your Google Plus account, click on a photo, and then click the edit option in the like box. The function includes auto enhance, selective adjustment options for portions of a photo or the entire photo itself, and photo filters. Not a Chrome user? Don't worry. Basic functions like cropping and rotating are available and can be found right above the photo in lightbox mode on all browsers. A month or two back, we previewed Starmobile's then upcoming flagship smartphone, the Knight. Back then, we were extremely excited at what potentially could be one of the best smartphones from a local manufacturer. Were we right? Stay tuned to find out. Two things I realized when I reviewed the Starmobile Knight. First, the iPhone 5's design is by far the best in a smartphone to date. It really is. And two, design plays a huge role in one's overall impression of a phone. That said, the Starmobile Knight, the Android phone that looks like an iPhone 5, made a great impression. Side by side, the Knight is taller and wider than the iPhone. It is also lighter. Many who ask to see the phone want to know, is the battery already in it? The phone is 125 grams light. We love the rubberized matte back plate also. It doesn't pick up smudges easily and gives you a good grip when in your hand. If we're judging merely by looks, the Knight is without a doubt a premium phone. But its specs also don't disappoint. A 1.2 GHz quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM, 4 GB of space, an 18 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, and a 2000 milliampere battery. Performance-wise, videos look great, the operating system feels snappy, we played video games like this one without any noticeable lag, and everyday tasks like texting and email were a pleasure also. Benchmarking tests seem to agree. The phone scores 13,161 on Antutu and 3,978 on Quadrant. The Knight runs on Android version 4.2.1. While Starmobile says it customized the user interface, the phone still feels very much like vanilla Android, which we love. Photos taken using both of its cameras were great. We love the way Starmobile customized the camera app on the Knight. On the left, you can scroll through the various camera modes. That includes, but is not limited to, HDR, beauty face, panorama, and an exposure bracket mode. Camera startup time is an impressive 2 seconds. While the phone is Starmobile's most expensive device, it's still a bargain at 11,290 pesos. What would have made this phone great? 3 things specifically. LTE support, a full HD display, which has been seen on a phone at the same price point. Starmobile rivaled Cherry Mobile's Cosmos Z. And third, a removable battery. That last bit got us a bit confused. The backplate of the Knight is user replaceable, but you can't pop out the battery like you can on most, if not all, of Starmobile's other Android-powered smartphones. That being said, there is hardly much to complain about it. I took the phone with me on my recent trip to Berlin and had no qualms about using it as my main phone. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's the best smartphone from a Filipino brand in the market today. And that was TechRap. Next week, we give you the 3rd edition of our smartphone camera shootout. And as requested, we're pitting 2 local smartphones against each other, the Starmobile Knight and the Cherry Mobile Cosmos Z, both of which sport 18 megapixel cameras. For the latest news updates, don't forget, follow Rappler.com on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and Instagram. Send emails to TechRap@Rappler.com and join our conversation on Twitter using the hashtag TechRap. Don't forget, new episodes are posted every Sunday, and you can look back at old episodes. All you have to do is visit Rappler.com/TechRap. That's all for this week, folks. I'm Michael Josh. Thanks for dropping by.